Yeah, can you? All right. Thank you. Thank you for recording. And am I back to, yeah, okay. I will start.
Mr. Zoom Master, do you need any help?
Okay, I think I'm okay now. I think I'm okay now.
Before you
Yeah.
begin, can I ask the Toastmaster of the day to make you the host, and then you make the Toastmaster of the day as the co-host and me as the co-host as well?
Maybe that's where things are.
Do you know how to do that? Actually, no, let's not make him a host today, because can you make me a co-host, Madam Toastmaster of the day? Because our Zoom Master is having technical difficulties. Can you make me the co-host?
You are co-host.
Just make me the host, all right? Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, since our Zoom master is having a problem here, I'd like to introduce to you our Toastmaster of the day, who is Francoise Bowen. And today she is having a great, awesome theme. And her theme is leadership is a team sport. And as you can see, I jumped in and we are all a team. So when one falters, the other one takes over. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Francoise Bowen, our club secretary. Thank you. And shortly we'll be posting the right agenda in the chat as well. Over to you, Francois.
Thank you so much, Brahm, President Brahm of Leadership Speak. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Francoise Bowen. I'm from the Caribbean island of Antigua and Barbuda. And you might be wondering, what on earth is she wearing? Wig and this? Listen, the theme for today is leadership is a team sport, right? Good. Now, in the Caribbean, we love sport, and our favorite, football and yes, cricket. So right now I am wearing my football jersey, and ABFA, Antigua Barbuda Football Association, we actually in Antigua and Barbuda made it through, yes, the World Cup football a few years ago, just recently. But we didn't go to all the way to the top, but you know what? That's fine. Leadership is a team sport, and I'm telling you, we're going to learn a lot about sport through pathways, through our roles, through everything that we're doing today. I am now going to invite, did I just say district? District Director Fabiola, who will be giving a toast. And I'm going to say something quickly about her. Since working with pathways, she has connected with many teams in more effective way, following the lead in a team structure that Pathways projects provided. So first off, we've just learned something about team. Colleague, haha. My colleague, Fabiola, take it away, give us the toast.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Well, raising a toast among my colleagues in a global environment like that, it's fun. Why? Because we can raise our glasses, our mugs, cocktail glasses, depending in what time zone we are and depending what our customs is and our favorite beverages. As I'm just about to do breakfast, I will be toasting with my cup of coffee, wearing my Toronto 2005 convention cap. On this special occasion,
Les 40 même.
on this special occasion, and toast to the team collaboration being the team of today, I'm part of being of this global team, and I'm grateful for all my fellow colleagues who complement me in my growth of self-development to go for the extraordinariness. Colleagues, that's so one colleague that saw the greatness of one of an awesome leader with a vision to create a community of self-directed leaders, one who invests in building extraordinary leaders. I toast to our president and founder, Brahm, but also to our fellow members and to our guests, yes, who contribute to making this team an enjoyable sport that we all set aside every Sunday, if some in the morning, some in the evening, to participate at this sport. So cheers, and let's celebrate our greatness. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the meeting.
Thank you so much, Toast, for giving us that toast. And then in football, what it is, the first kickoff. All righty, so it's the ball is back to me. Okay, so now I'm going to kick the ball back to, guess who? The grammarian, who, well known in sport. The grammarian is that manager who ensures that the team members speak well. Toastmaster, first C. The virtual lectern is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening. I appreciate the opportunity tonight to give us our word of the day, or since we've had such great participation all week, our word of the week, colleague. Colleague. I have it here on my screen, and I will also put it in the chat. A colleague is someone that we work with, someone that we might respect, someone that we participate with. In short, someone with whom we create a partnership or a team. So thank you for being such great colleagues this week by participating in our Word of the Day, Word of the Week endeavor. I will also, as grammarian, report back to you at the end of the day or evening on things that you did well in your grammar or in your phrasing, or things that there may be an opportunity to make some improvements. I shall endeavor to help everyone get just a little bit better in the short time that we have together as colleagues. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Dog Grammarian. Woo! All right, now, in every sport, you know the one thing that is needed, even in hockey, right, Tony? And it's none other than the timer to keep the scores. Who are keeping the scores? The timer. And I'll now invite Timer Sabnin to give us her role. Take it away.
President, fellow Toastmasters, good evening. As timer, I will be helping the speakers practice expressing a thought within a specific time. My duty is to time the prepared speeches, table topics, speech evaluations during this meeting. I will explain the timing rules before every session and give my report when called upon. Over to you.
All right. Now you're hearing noise, right? Yes. Sometimes when we're playing sports, there's noise all over. But you know what? We are not going to let the noise get us distracted, but motivate us to go forward, because in the crowd, you hear the noises roar. You go, ah! So we're going to go right into our meeting. Our first leadership speak presenter is someone that loves to laugh. When I say laugh, she loves to laugh. And last week, she sang a song through laughing. But do you know that it's also required as a leader? Yes, it is more than required. Our teammate, or should I say our colleague, is none other than Sandra Valks. And she will be presenting to us. Her evaluator is Mohmad, Asif, Saiyed. I'm going to ask her evaluator to please give us the purpose of her speech. Back to you, to our evaluator for Sandra.
Hello, colleagues from all over the globe. This is Mohmad Asif, and today we have our another colleague who's well experienced as a coach to present before us a keynote style long duration speech of around 18 to 22 minutes. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice developing and presenting a longer speech. The member will be delivering an engaging speech, which may be humorous, informational, or the style the member chooses. And in this speech, the member is going to, or our colleague is going to demonstrate presentation skills of compelling content. Over to you, back to Toastmaster of the Day, Sandra Valks.
Thank you so much. And just a brief intro that Sandra, better known as Coach Sandra, is compassionate queen of straight talk, has enjoyed building community. For Sandra, building community is her alternative to building a sport team, especially because she does not have one athletic bone in her body. Don't worry, beside her stories, she will bring it all back here to this very special leadership speech. Help me welcome Sandra Valks as she presents Leadership Growth Evolves and Can Be Learned. Leadership Growth Evolves and Can Be Learned, Sandra Valks.
Oh, it can. It does. It evolves. Francoise asked me exactly this, quote, to share what I had learned this far in my Toastmaster journey and how was that applied to life, to a group and becoming a team, and indeed to opening up the world and life and building community. That's basically what she asked me to cover. I thought, how do I do that? Well, I thought about it. And for me, I'm just going to invite you to lean in now and enjoy how first life taught me leadership. And then I got to Toastmasters and it stuck a little polish on. And it's trying still to polish me, but I'm getting there because you know very well that the best is yet to come. So work away, team, work away. You'll polish me and get me professional yet. I love having fun. Well, I grew up, as you might remember from my icebreaker, on the farm. And as a farm girl, we learned very well to work together, first as a family. And then from there, we lived in a small community, which had, I always thought it was 30 or 40 families. And my sister says, no, it's more like 25 families. Oh, but we had a cooperative, one thrashing machine for all the farms because the equipment was expensive. So all the farmers bought the one machine. And when harvest came, it traveled from farm to farm to farm. And along came each of the farmers at that time with the horses and the wagon to gather up the grain and bringing up to the thrashing machine. Of course, then we moved to tractors and I got to drive tractors because I was too small to throw the bales up on the wagon. But that cooperative process meant that we had community. And community really is, a good community is like a team because the men were out getting the harvest with the teenagers and the women were peeling. I got to do a lot of kitchen duty. When I got to prison, I understood what the potato routine was because we would have a huge bin of potatoes to peel to make up dinners for 22, 25 hungry men. So that was the farming community. Next, I got married to a military fellow and off to Europe we went. And I had my son when I arrived in Germany. And again, there I was, farm girl. I didn't even know you needed to make reservations anywhere. Didn't even have to make reservation for the plane flight because it was military. I ended up in Germany, had my baby, raised the two children for a few years, and there we were alone. I mean, if I was here, my mother would be helping with the children, right? No. So I had to learn how to build community once again. And out of our group of people that we got together, we were able to share babysitting. And I actually had families that were Army. We were Air Force, had good friends in the Army, and they had their own circle of friends as well. So when we would go on a holiday where it wasn't appropriate for the little babies to go, we would exchange even for a week or 2 weeks. That worked well. That was the beginning of me learning about team, which is really community for me. Now I came to Toastmasters and then started a club in prison. Well, prison has taught me all kinds of things. Mostly I'd like to visit there and I don't want to live there. That's the first thing. But the inmates are really interesting because they would start coming out to the club. Well, they wanted the coffee and they wanted a cookie. And then maybe they would leave before the meeting got very far along. So I didn't come up with these ideas. The inmates that were putting the coffee on said, okay, you know what? We're going to put the coffee on at break. And so they had to stay for some of it. And they would arrive and they would have their caps down over their eyes or their hoods up over, and they would sit back and they knew they weren't going to say a thing. They weren't going to say a thing. And we'd go around with our introductions. Everyone had to stand and say their name, if nothing else. So we would come and they'd say, no, okay, that's no problem. We'll be right back to you a little bit later. Carry on all the way around. All we want is for you just to give your name. Can you just stand and give your name? And that's the way it was. And 3 weeks later, they'd be, okay, pick me, pick me, pick me, because it's hard to laugh in prison. Not a very fun place. Toastmasters was a real reprieve for them. And you know, once they were able to laugh and participate, and the powerful thing was to be able to stand. They were expected to stand, and everybody else was expected to be quiet and listen to them. And I think for many, that had never happened before. They were able to stand, claim their space, say their name, and answer whatever little introduction I had. And I think there was quite a feeling, a growth that came. So person by person by person. Now, one of the earliest icebreakers I ever heard was before I started the club, but I was going to another Toastmaster club in prison. And I remember this young man, blonde hair, curled, beautiful eyes. And I'm looking and thinking, oh my goodness, what is that lovely young man doing in prison? That can't be. Why is he here? I was all ears when he did his icebreaker. And of course, they have to be very careful what they tell in prison to keep themselves safe from other inmates. The story runs around quickly. But the courage to be able to step up and claim and then know that they're still going to make it through okay. He chose to tell why he was in prison. Why was he there? Well, he and another young friend of the same age, I think he was maybe 23 when I met him. He and his friend had decided to go to the convenience store and get some money because they wanted some more alcohol or drugs. I mean, this was a number of decades ago, so I'm not sure which one they wanted, but they wanted to get high and they wanted more. And they took a gun with them, and they weren't going to use that gun. That was just to scare the clerk so they would give the money over. Well, things went wrong, and the clerk, the owner, didn't go along with that and caused a kerfuffle. Out came the gun, and the gun went off, and here's the young man in prison for murdering somebody. Who did he murder? His best friend. He murdered his best friend. So now here he is, young, in prison for killing his own friend. What a lot to start to be able to peel that away over the years and ever forgive. Ever forget. That's a real tough one. So that's what Toastmasters has done in the prison. That's the beginning. They come and they find a voice and they claim a space. It's beautiful. Now, when I got started with my own club, it was interesting how the one guy, actually, he was quite famous for his art and his tattoos. I can't remember his name, and it wouldn't be for me to give it anyhow. That's against what I agree to when I go to prison. But I just remembered his name. Not going to tell you. He did beautiful artwork, but he was a bit of an activist, and he really hated the guards, and he hated the criminals, not the criminal system, he was one, but he hated the corrections system. So he was always doing these cartoons and causing a bit of problem, you know, and rabbling up the others. But he was a real power tripper. So he was going to be the president. Yes, he was. I soon learned, and it's interesting, you know, you go in there with your ear to the ground, your mouth shut, other than making noise and having fun. You go in with your ear to the ground and get the little bit of words from some of the inmates who say, yeah, this is what's happening. This is what's happening. The ones that really would like to be a friend with somebody from the outside. And he was literally saying, no, those people can't come in. Those people can't come in. That one, he's out. So it was a power trip. As that evolved and I was able to step in, because the ones that were seeing it and didn't know what to do with it would tell me a little over coffee. And as that would evolve, I would know that that was the reason I was going to be speaking, because every time I visit prison, I have a speaking time. And I figure out what the talk is going to be about as I'm sitting there with them and going through the meeting. So I was able to talk about reaching in and helping others, reaching in, raising others up. And I was able to speak directly to this fellow who is the president. And I said, so see how confident you are. You can help others get confident. You can reach in, and it's really hard on the ego, because then you have to kind of not be the star. Do you think you can do that? Do you think you can help them along? So he changed a little bit for a while, but basically he went away because his power trip wasn't working and he wasn't going to be happy there. Well, once that was sorted out, we got into a bit more of a routine. And you would just laugh when you would watch them at elections. So 6 months elections, and it was time for election. Well, the first few went kind of normal, like we would. And then they got into it and they thought, oh, hey, they realized that with the executive, there was such a camaraderie going on that they knew being on the executive was the place to be. And that's that camaraderie that we're looking to build here. Get to know each other. Who are you? Where are you from? What's this? What's that journey? That's the camaraderie. And the men could actually see it, that to be on the executive, that's where I want to be, because there's a team in there. And I'm going to try and show you a little bit about what an election looks like in Prison Club, my prison club. First, they would take little strips of cardboard. There would be the president, there would be education, membership, and so on. And they would tape them across the wall. And then everybody who wanted to be, and they did the little nomination process, but you know, we can nominate ourselves as well. So everybody that wanted to be in that position would put their name forward. And so all the names that wanted to be president, education, and so on. So you'd have this long list like this, who wanted to be president, and they're all just on paper strips again. And then you'd move along and it would thin out a little bit. And some of the ones, membership, you know, they'd be long. And I've tried to make this so you can see what it is. They would be in strips, not all in one. And you could see everybody wanted to be the president. We went through all of the elections for the president. And what they would do is keep voting over and over and over until it got eliminated down to the winner. They would take the top 4 and then the top 3 and the top 2, and then we eventually get the leader. Well, what happened once the president was chosen was that these guys would be out, but they had the opportunity to say, okay, put my name over here for education. Put my name over here for this and that. And so they could move their name across. And it was just a blast. I just stayed out and let them do it because that's what I think leaders do. Keep our noses out and let them figure out their own new way. So it was such fun. And they moved along. Well, this one time we had a leader. The election came down to this very quiet, most unlikely to succeed. Like, how was he ever going to be a leader and a president? That was the challenge. This was Dan, a Hawaiian fellow, very quiet. And somebody had nominated him. He said, yeah, okay. So he left his name run. Didn't he win? And his presidential acceptance speech was, I have no idea how to do this. I've never done anything like this before, and I can't do it. So I'm going to need all of you guys to help me. Bam. Now that was the tipping point of having an executive that came together, was the president saying, I can't do it. I don't even know exactly what I'm doing. I need from everybody. That gave all the rest of the executive members the power to step in, and they started having their own weekly executive meetings to prepare for that weekly meeting. And we've never looked back. Two of them particularly rose up, Fergie and Marcus, and they became such strong leaders. And then we would reach in and say, okay, you're not going to be the president this time. You're going to be, as the past president, you're going to support the team. And that's exactly what happened. Well, now here's another character, James. I thought I would pull my hair out. I think that's when I went gray. James, talk incessantly, and he was just in your face all the time, and he had to have all the attention. It would come time for coffee break, and he would rush over and monopolize my time, and everybody's wanting to have a little bit of time with the volunteer. He would monopolize anything he could monopolize, and I thought, oh, how are we going to do this? But I kind of trusted the leadership at the prison. Fergie and Marcus, they were the ones that James was just so passionate that he was going to do this huge presentation. It was a huge project. And I thought, I can't see how that ever, and you didn't want to say, James, just stop it. You can't do that. This guy just so needy and really wants to be somebody. And he's got 25 years in there. Like, come on, he needs a place to shine. What happened when I went back in for his presentation, and it might have been like 2 months later, there was a time period because it was set for a special training. When I went into that meeting, again, I just did my little bit and sat and observed. And he put on the presentation. I was gobsmacked, absolutely gobsmacked. Like, well, it turns out, as James rushes over at coffee break, I said, how did you do that? And he said, well, Fergie and Marcus, they just never quit, and they just helped me, and we built it all together, and we practiced and practiced and practiced, and we practiced some more. And in prison, there was this one gathering room, so you had to really schedule it in. But every time they had a chance for that 5:30 to 6:30 or 5, whatever, every time they had a chance, they were in there practicing so that James would look good. And he did it. James has gone through his entire competent communicator manual because they don't have pathways. He went through, he said, well, I've got that done. Then he did some leadership manuals because we were able to take some in. And he says, now what do I do? And I said, you can't go any further. How long are you going to be here? Well, are you getting out right away? No, I'm going to be a long time. Just start doing it again. Just enjoy making speeches. Just enjoy being part of it. So he jumped out and had there was a deaf fellow that he'd become friends with. And he combined with Mike. Now, Mike, the deaf fellow, decided this was always Sandra whenever he talked, because it was the pink in my hair. So whenever Sandra was coming in, they developed their sign language, and James learned sign language with Mike so that he could help him. And then we had to peel James away and let Mike stand for himself. It's been such a growth. So there we go with the most unlikely to succeed. The most recent, one of the more recent ones was the young guys were coming to me saying, nah, I think I'm going to quit Toastmasters. Well, why would you do that? It's just a bunch of old guys here now. It's just old guys. And the old guys would come another time and say, no, I think I'm done with the Toastmasters. Why would that be? Well, they're all young guys. So we came up with a solution. I said, if you're old, and bring a young guest. And if you're young, bring an old guest. And let's get over ourselves and start growing, because the old guys maybe know something that you young guys need, and you young guys are going to bring new ideas. So again, it's always stirring that pot. And to me, it's building community, building a team. And I think that's like sports. But like Francoise said, I don't have an athletic bone in my body, so I am not good on sports. Here's a little brief excerpt from astronomy.com. And it's about when stars collide. Because you know, just like in the prison club, same thing's going to happen here at Leadership Speak. If we're going to grow, we're going to kind of bunk here and there, and you know, like the gems and the stones in the pot, they're tumbling. We're going to polish each other. That's what's going to happen. So what happens when stars collide? Quote, the outcome of the collision depends on how fast the stars are moving relative to each other, rather like a car accident. In star clusters, the stars are moving relatively slowly. And so the fender bender results in the two stars merging into one. So I think we're going to be looking for fender benders here. But the center of the galaxy is more like the interstate, and the stars are moving very quickly. A collision there is so much more destructive, and often the aftermath is just star bits spread out all over the place. Just star bits. That's the end of that quote. Fellow Toastmasters, we will inevitably collide. And when we do, we can remember what Charlie Chaplin said in his poem, As I Began to Love Myself. As I began to love myself, I realized we no longer need to fear arguments, confrontations, or any kind of problems with ourselves or others. Even the stars collide, and out of their crashing, new worlds are born. Today, I know that is life. So yes, leadership growth really does evolve and really can be learned. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd have a couple minutes left, I do believe. If there's any questions or comments, I would be happy with those, but otherwise we shall conclude. Madam Toastmaster.
Touchdown! 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 Roar! Roar! And Toastmaster Sandra gave such a wonderful touchdown. Thank you so much for sharing with all of us a lot of team sport within your presentation. Colleagues in this chat, give her a round of applause.
Thank you.
I will now call on our first speaker, prepared speaker. And this speaker, I must tell you, the one. The question I asked her, I said, leadership is a team sport, and to achieve a goal, the team works together to make it relatable to achieving among themselves. What have you learned thus far through the pathway you are on, where you see team sport being applicable to anyone's life? Listen to the response. She's going to be contrary. She says that she feels the role of the roles, the key element that pulls Toastmasters from being compared to a team sport. A regular game has its players perfected in their best role players, goalkeeper, pitcher, etc. If one specialized player is out of the game, the team risks losing. However, Toastmasters is a team where we are schooled and trained to face any role thrust at us. And not only play the role, but play it well. In short, come what made Toastmasters never lose. I will now invite Bindhu Evaluator, who is none other than Hannah. Toastmaster Hannah, the virtual lectern is yours. Give us the purpose of Bindhu's presentation.
Certainly, Madam Toastmaster of the day. Bindhu will be speaking from Understanding Your Leadership, Presentation Mastery, Level 5, Project 1. And the purpose of the speech is, the purpose of this project is for the member to identify her primary leadership style or styles. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspect of her primary leadership and discuss leadership styles in general. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. Reach out for the stars and landed on the moon. Reach out for the stars and landed on the moon. Toastmaster Bindhu Joseph.
Leadership styles. All of us are Toastmasters. You know exactly what I'm talking about, this particular project. It's not the first time I've attempted this project, and I have a feeling it's not going to be the last time. But this time was different. And how was it different? First of all, I joined leadership speech, and I'm in a community of leaders, visionary leaders, innovative leaders. And second, well, I had to wear that particular shoe. How did this come about? Well, my head of the unit, he got promoted unexpectedly to the director. And even more unexpectedly, I ended up wearing shoes that I had never anticipated or never wanted to wear, and filling a pose which was as foreign to me as the moon. But I was helped one particular character trait of mine. You know what that is? I'm a perfectionist. Yeah, so whatever role you throw at me or whatever role I have to fill, I try to do my best to just fill it out. So this time round, when I had to approach this project, I paid a little more interest than I usually did in the project itself. Did the portfolio help me? Well, the pathways, it has on this particular level a whole description of 8 different types of leaders. Well, let me tell you, this project sort of helped me and didn't help me. So how did it not help me? First of all, there were 8 different types of leadership styles. You have authoritative, bureaucratic, democratic, affiliative, innovative, and path setting. It just goes on. And not surprisingly, I had equal scores, 6 leadership styles, equal scores. So what does that actually mean? Am I an attention deficit leader? Well, no, I don't think so. Probably it means I'm a chameleon leader. Well, the sort of leader who is soft and flexible enough to adjust herself according to her herd. So this got me thinking, am I a chameleon leader? Let me see. Well, as far as my students are concerned, I can be authoritative. And yes, most of you are teachers or coaches, and you know how important authority is for Gen X. Tick. My colleagues, yes, I'm interactive and I'm able to have an initiative, affiliative style. I know how to give work where it can be done best. Tick on that. And I'm also a researcher. So I have the capability and I have the sort of innovative leadership style that can bring fame and name to our institute. So tick on that also. Yes, I am a chameleon leader. But is that enough? I can see a few people shaking their head. No, it's not enough. And I felt that too. So I was thinking about it, and I was discussing this with a friend, and he gave me a particular article from the Harvard Business Review. And it was about a person called Darwin Smith. Has any of you heard of Darwin Smith? Can I see a thumbs up? Oh my, I'm surprised. Well, I hadn't heard about him till I actually read this read this article. Now, Darwin Smith, he was a laid-back, unassuming, mild-mannered lawyer in a firm, Procter and Gamble. Kimberly Clark. He was appointed CEO in 1971. And then after over a period of 20 years, he did amazing things in this company. He converted this company from good, where it was, to great. But that's not where he was famous. He became famous as he was a part of a very interesting research. The research was called 5 years, 11 companies, and 1 question. So this particular research, it is by the industry guru in leaderships, Jim Collins. And it was about 14,000 companies that he evaluated over a period of 5 years and analyzed what made them good or what transferred good to great. Only 11 companies could fit that bill. And the answer to that question, what did these 11 companies have? Level 5 leadership. And Darwin Smith is the representative of level 5 leadership. I will come to that later. So I thought that seems attractive. Level 5 leadership. So what is level 5? If there are 5 levels, there must be 4 levels before that, and it must be a sort of gradation thing. Well, that was made easy for me because Jim Collins has done a leadership Bible that is good to great, and it has described all 5 levels. So I wondered, where do I fit in this? Level 1, a person who is qualified as a leader. And okay, I fit the bill. At that point of time, I was the most qualified to become the head of the unit, and it got me into this pickle in the first place. So level 2, effective team member. Yes, I collaborate really well with my colleagues. I believe in mutual decisions towards a mutual good, and tick on that too. Now, level 3 is an effective coach. And do I fit that bill? Well, as a head of the unit, I am a mentor to postgraduate students, and I am in charge of designing the academia. I do that pretty good. As well as I already said, as an investigator, I do have obligations, and I do fulfill them pretty good as a researcher. So that also is ticked. Now, level 4, it's an effective leader. For this, I require results. But I think I'm a little too early in my leadership. Hardly a few months, so I can't expect level 4 to happen. But I was still curious. I wanted to know about level 5. How do I reach there? So level 5 leadership, it is a pinnacle of leadership. And I'm sure a lot of you are aware of it, but I'm just going to recap a little. The 3 features that make you a level 5 leader. Paradoxical humility. You are at a level at the very top, but you're not proud. And the second one is having ambition that is directed at goals, not at your personal glory. That is self-explanatory. And The last, but not the least, to have a vision, a creative envision, and a passion to follow that. Now, as all of you are leaders, I think a lot of you have these qualities. So do I. So my take is that if I focus on these qualities, hone in on these qualities, specialize these qualities, me and maybe you, we might reach the moon faster than we expect. Back to you, Madam Toastmasters.
Hey! Yes! Whoa! No. Toastmaster Bindhu just gave a beautiful score. Hit 6. Whoa! What you see me wearing? It's now cricket. The West Indies. There's West Indies versus India. Normally, we love to blow our conch shell for the sound, but you know what? I will not do that at this time. But this is what I will do at this time. I will invite our next speaker, and our next speaker is none other than Mary Cusin. Now, Toastmaster Mary, one of the things she's going to highlight about her in her speech, that the most important thing as a team sport with her colleagues is to connect. That's right, connect. I will now call on her evaluator. And her evaluator is none other than Kenneth. Toastmaster Kenneth, please give all of us, the spectators, what is Mary's purpose of her speech? Over to you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. My colleague Mary is going to introduce herself to the club. It's giving her first project, level 1, under dynamic leadership. Mary will use 4 to 6 minutes, and I will look out for special attention of audibility, clarity, and good use of English language. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Kenneth. Something from elsewhere. Something from elsewhere, Toastmaster Mary.
Speaker Mary, you need to unmute yourself.
Excuse me. I was drinking a delicious cup of coffee in a cafe when suddenly the waiter said to me, "You speak perfect French, but you look like you come from somewhere else. Where do you come from?" Madam Toastmaster and their colleagues, can you please tell me in the chat where you think I might come from? Europe, a country, please. Thank you for your reply. You will find out the answer at the end of my speech. But first, I'm going to give you some clues. Like many of you, I am from elsewhere, although without do. I am from somewhere. But to come from somewhere is also to come from nowhere. I was born 2 years after a major war where 3 million people died. Since then, I have belonged to several different teams, 3 exactly. Like a balloon, destiny carried me to my first team when I was just 2 years old. I was adopted by a Swiss-French family and grew up in France, where I did all my schooling. Then I moved to Switzerland to finish my studies, and I still live and work there now. I grew up in a family which belongs to a military religious sect. They believe that they are living on earth, but don't belong to this world. They are special people. They are not allowed to have a radio, TV, or newspaper for fear of being contaminated by the outside world. So many rules, but not freedom, of course, no tenderness. The group's reputation is more important to them than any individual member. Thus, during my childhood, I saw and underwent things that are not allowed by the rest of society. I escaped from my golden prison through literature, painting, and poetry. Yet all of these things were in secret. They often told me, "You are not a good member. You've gotten something from elsewhere." Of course, the arts opened my mind, but I couldn't share anything with them because all it was forbidden. When I was 22, after more than a year of psychiatric therapy, my future prospect improved. I became the principal actor in my own life. I met two people I could count on and who could count on me. I learned the normal codes of society, although I kept some value from the sect, including some of the bad stuff, but I recycled them to feed my strength and make my personality bloom. I stopped my studies in medicine and took a job from a temp agency. This was my second team, a professional team with a life path. But people often said to me that I have something from elsewhere. Of course, I am often offbeat. I speak perfect French due to my interest in literature. But my accent comes from both France and Switzerland. And my colors clothes do indeed have something from elsewhere. And finally, I discovered Toastmasters. This is so important for my heart because I can connect with many different sorts of people. I like to share ideas with people who do not agree with me. I can learn so many different points of view. This is my third team, but it is different because it involves leadership as well as communication and sharing. So, dear colleagues, have you guessed my country of origin? It is known for being one of the most densely populated countries in the world, for its textiles, its tiger, and for its huge river delta. Yes, I was born in Bangladesh. Have you long ago come to terms with this, even if I'm often out of step in terms of my accent, dress, and personality? Listening to people, I feel that I am from everywhere or nowhere. But this is me, enriched by several cultures and made of something from elsewhere. I feel most at home where I feel best. And my Toastmaster leadership team teaches me that the most important thing in life is to connect directly with people. So after the meeting, please connect with at least one other person in leadership speak or with someone from your neighborhood. Madam Toastmaster, back to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Cusin. Woo! You did. Listen, you went on that field and you looked on the ball, you looked on it, and you away. Thank you so much for sharing through your speech the values, the collaboration, being colleague, being a team player. All of us learned something. Now, do you know that when Sir Viv Richards hit the ground playing for us, the West Indies, the ground trembled, and it is known as diamond in the dirt? Yes. But in India, when Virat Kohli goes on, it's an earthquake, rumbling, and everybody in the stand have the radio listening to the commentators. And while they're listening to the commentators, they decide they want to listen to another Toastmaster by the name of Toastmaster Sudarshan. Sudarshan. They're listening to hear Sudarshan because they hear he's coming up next on Toastmasters. No, he has something to say. What he's saying. So, okay. So Toastmaster Sudarshan, one of the things he learned, okay, strategic relationships pathway emphasizes the role of the team in leader success and role a successful leader plays in maximizing the team potential. What is his highlights? Okay, so his highlights are: 1, identifying and nurturing the potential of each team member. Okay, 2, improving team dynamics through clearly, concise, and confident communication. 3, the role of integrity and its impact on team's performance. Okay. Okay. Wait. Okay, so his evaluator, who is none other than Tony, one of Canada's top hockey player, is going to be his evaluator, and we'll be introducing him. Okay, all right. So now, okay, so we now turn the virtual lectern to Toastmaster Tony to give us the purpose of Sudarshan's speech.
Wow, Toastmaster of the Day, you are fantastic. Well, Canada, you know, with hockey, we say we got to keep our stick on the ice. So I'll get right to the point. And before I pass the puck to Sudarshan, I will describe his project. Sudarshan, and is that the correct pronunciation?
Absolutely right.
Names are so important. Look at my last name. Holy moly. Sudarshan is speaking from the strategic relationships pathway, level 2, project 1, understanding your leadership style. So he will be sharing some aspect of a chosen style. So he'll pick a style. He's going to choose a style in general, and he's going to discuss the preferences when working with others, colleagues, right? And how to adapt the chosen leadership style to situations. That's going to be interesting. Look, how to change on the fly as you pass the puck, skating down the ice. Oh yeah, that's exciting, Toastmaster of the Day. And how to impact the group of colleagues. Surprisingly, the title, so this is really interesting. Sudarshan's title is, I'm sorry. So the puck is now on your stick, Sudarshan. Put it in the net.
I shall.
I'm sorry by Toastmaster Sudarshan. I'm sorry, Toastmaster Sudarshan.
Hey, Sudarshan, can I speak to you for a minute? Anant, I have to get onto another call. Can you come back in 10 minutes, please? No, it'll just take 30 seconds. Can I just... Okay, sit. Even I need to speak with you. So before you speak, can I give, Anant, just sit. Sit. I want to say something to you. Anant, I'm sorry. This is the end of the road for you. I'm really sorry. I have to let you go from the team, my friend. Oh, Sudarshan, what's wrong with you? I am here to give you my wedding card. I want you to come and be a part of my wedding. Please, please don't throw such a bombshell on me. Please, Sudarshan, try to understand. I'm sorry, Anant. I'm really sorry. I don't see you going further with the team. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, we are all leaders in this group particularly and in general in life, irrespective of the titles we carry, the positions we hold, or the wealth we've been able to earn or lose. We at times are called upon to utter these words. I am sorry. A leader is defined by the way the leader communicates bad news. And my speech is going to dwell on this aspect and what have I learned through my career as a leader and the times that I've had to either listen to the words I'm sorry or have to utter the words I'm sorry. So cut to 2016, a fine cold day in Abu Dhabi. At 4 p.m. when I was packing my bags, I get a call from my boss's assistant. Mr. Sudarshan, she could never get my name right. Mr. Sudarshan, Marty would like to see you. Marty, a big 6'4" Canadian hockey player from Montreal, called me into his office and said exactly what I had told Anant way back in the year 2000. So 16 years later, the history was repeating itself. I was being told, I am sorry. It was like a sucker punch to my gut. And a person with a flourishing career suddenly had the carpets pulled from under his feet. Tottering, not knowing whether I was coming or going, I stepped out of his office, didn't have the guts to drive, hailed a taxi, gave him the address and said, let's go. As I was in the back seat of the taxi looking outside, all the while, the driver in his rear view mirror was looking at me. At one point in time, his curiosity got the better of him. That happens, I guess, when you're driving 175 kilometers and you have to do something in the taxi. So he looks in the rear view and asks me, what's wrong? I look at him and mind your business. No, tell me what's wrong. We have a long way to go. If we chat, maybe you will feel good. I didn't say anything. I just kept looking outside. Next to us, this is UAE after all. We have all the fancy cars in the world. A Rolls Royce passes us. And the driver looks at that Rolls Royce and turns to me and says, sir, can I tell you something? I said, yeah, what? Even that Rolls Royce will one day go to the garage. Even that Rolls Royce will one day go to the garage. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, this is something that has remained with me, and I liberally use it whenever I have to talk about my style of communication. We know that a leader employs multiple styles of communication, and each of those styles invokes the inner leader in him or her, whether it is a collaborative leader or an authoritative leader, or a leader that is a laissez-faire leader. You all of us communicate one way or the other. But when that driver told me even the Rolls Royce goes to the garage, what stuck to me that day, and it remains with me today, till today, is the fact that when we communicate, I am sorry, there are a million different ways to say it. And I was dealt a sucker punch by Marty. I recovered. I am in front of you. I have embarked on new journeys since and been successful. And I guess I was that Rolls Royce heading to the garage. I didn't know about it that day. But would I have appreciated if I was told the same thing in a different way? What I've learned is bad news is something that happens, especially now that we've recently passed COVID. We all know that bad news is all around us. what differentiates a good leader from a great leader is how do you communicate? And in my opinion, integrity is the only way that you can communicate bad news. Because guess what? A team member or an associate or a client or a supplier could be the one that's going to feel the wrath of the axe. And the person on the chopping block deserves to know. Even when the French put people on the guillotine, they actually read out their crimes to them before the guillotine fell. And that's something that a good leader will not do, but a great leader will always do. How do you do that is where true leadership sits. And in my opinion, and my learning says, a great leader will be transparent, will be direct, will be compassionate, will be empathetic, and above all, will treat a colleague as a colleague and not as a resource which is being used or abused. And I learned from that taxi driver that day that even the best of us at times will hit rough weather. The way we come out of it on the other side is when we are told what went wrong. Even if you're not told how to fix it, what matters is, are you told what went wrong? And that is what I believe has become my style of communication and my style of leadership. When I have to communicate, I have always laid emphasis on this one aspect, which is to be direct, to go to the source and the root of the matter, and be empathetic. Because guess what? People aren't bad. It is situations that make them good or bad. And as leaders, it's our duty to enable even the worst performers in our team to become the best self that they can. Even if not in our team, let them go elsewhere and be better colleagues than what they were for us. Thanks for listening to me. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Hello out there. On the air. It's hockey night tonight.
It is hockey and Toastmaster Sudarshan. You just heard Toastmaster Sudarshan doing that hockey. That was a hockey song, one of Canada's big sport. And he just touched down with his speech. I'm sorry. Now we have another beautiful speaker from, yes, the island. Island? No. From Canada. Yes, hockey is one of the main sports in Canada. Now, Toastmaster Marianna, what can we say about her? As a matter of fact, there's a lot of things that she as well learned from her pathways with Toastmasters about leadership sport. But before I actually let her speak, let me share this with you. Since becoming a Toastmaster, one of the biggest lessons she learned is teamwork. By nature, she always preferred to work alone. Now she values the team effort, which enhances club morale and values, and also beneficial for her personal growth, especially when implementing a public relations plan. And she will be presented from her strategic relationship level 4. I now invite her evaluator, Toastmaster Ashwini, to let us know Toastmasters Marianna purpose of her speech. Virtual lectern is yours.
Yeah, thank you. So my colleagues, my dear colleagues, so today Toastmaster Marianna is going to attempt level 4 project 1 speech from Pathway Strategic Relationship. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice the skills needed to effectively use public relation strategies for any group or situation. The purpose of the speech is for the member to share some aspects of his or her public relation strategy through a story. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much. Buckle up. Toastmaster Marianna, Buckle up.
Thank you. I have to share my screen, and I have no permission.
Brahm will allow you that.
Go ahead.
Thank you. It's a wild ride. Buckle up. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. First time I ever entangled with public relations was over 30 years ago. I still lived in Hungary, socialist Hungary. But times were changing and entrepreneurs got more opportunities to spread their wings. And as a young entrepreneur, I decided I design and manufacture school uniform, one of a kind, different kind of school uniform. But I have to sell them as well. And store chains wouldn't deal with such a small entrepreneur as I was. But 30 years ago, we didn't have computers and no internet. And social media was leaning out the window and saying hi to our neighbor. So I had to find another way to sell, to promote my products. I decided to advertise in a magazine. I picked a very popular magazine. But guess what? I had to pay for it. And I had to pay a lot. Actually, it was so expensive that I only could afford one advertisement, one time, one page. It was a leap of faith on my side. It had to work or my company will cease to exist. And my leap of faith was rewarded. One time, one page, and I received over 10,000 orders in a country of 10 million population. My leap of faith founded my first business endeavor. And recently, back in 2022, I entered Leadership Speak, and I got entangled again with public relations. And what a difference. Now we all have computers and we are all connected to a thing called World Wide Web, Internet. And social media is not just leaning out the window anymore. Actually, it is. We still say hello to our neighbors, but our neighborhood changed. It went global. I can say good morning to Percy in China. Hi, Percy, how are you? Or Hannah in Africa. Hello, Hannah. Or my friend just north part of Ontario. Hi, hello, everyone. All you really need is a common interest, and you can reach everyone. And I learned in 2022 the importance of public relations. As I was watching Leadership Speak, our club, how we promote ourselves every week on Facebook, on LinkedIn. And I learned title, the name, important. The topic, our theme is important because these are that brings in guests. The quality meeting matters because it's not enough to bring people in. We have to keep them and we have to make sure they will come back. And familiarity is very important. And what I learned now with Leadership Speak, we have 400 plus guests who ever entered our meeting. And every week we send out reminders to them. And based on what I learned at Leadership Speak, I put together my own project, my DTM project, a 3-event online educational session, online excellence. And by the third time, I had 93 registration. I had over 40 attendees. And over 100 people saw it on YouTube. And all I did, I used the principles I learned in Leadership Speak. And now, in 2023, I have a new plan. I will challenge myself to, based on what I learned here and what I learned 30 years ago, I challenge myself once again. I have a product to sell, and I'm going to try to get 10,000 orders again. But now it's not a one-time, one-page advertisement. I'm going to use social media, and I give myself 1 year. Is it possible to have 10,000 orders in 1 year? I believe so. But future will tell. And you will know because I will be back 1 year from today and I will share my experience with you. See you in 2024. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Marianna. Woo, what a hockey shot that was. Woo. No, somebody forget to tell me that when he plays hockey, that sport in Canada, I'm supposed to wear my mittens, wear my thing. I have to be well. So here am I in my Caribbean attire, wearing and freezing. But you know what? We're going to learn something else about team sport. Leadership is a team sport from another Canadian. Yes, we're still playing hockey, so bear with me as I'm wearing my attire inside of the ring. I now call on Toastmaster Brahm. But before I call on Toastmaster Brahm, the few things that he have learned as, you know, in sport through Toastmasters, and something that he's also sharing in global leadership: vision, organize, connect, team, and energize. Yes, energize. And we all know that when we are playing sport, we need to have all three. But before he comes and speak, my colleague, which is his evaluator, none other than Toastmaster Banassari, please give us the purpose speech of Brahm's speech. Over to you, Banassari.
Good evening and good morning to all of you. So Toastmaster Brahm is doing his level 2 project 3, which is Toastmasters mentoring. And the purpose of his speech is for the member to clearly define how Toastmasters envision mentoring, and for him to share one aspect of his previous experience as a protege. Wish you all the best, Toastmaster Brahm. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Mentoring for extraordinariness. Mentoring for extraordinariness, Toastmaster Brahm Memone.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Now, I've been a mentee in Toastmasters for 26 years, almost 27 years. In June, it'll be 27 years. That's right. Every time I come here, I'm really a mentee. I'm learning all the time. And today what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the experiences I've had in Toastmasters over this past 26 and a half years, and what I've learned and what's really needed in this day and age where things have changed and we've gone online and the pandemic has totally deconstructed the old normal and created a new normal. So here are a few things that I think we have a great opportunity, especially at Leadership Speak, to be able to coach and mentor each other, because all of you are advanced speakers and leaders. That's because this is an advanced club, so you have to be. And you've come here to sort of bring your expertise, your uniqueness, and yet be part of a team. How can you have uniqueness at one point, at one place, and be a team member on the other hand? So the two together actually do come together, and I will talk about that. But first of all, here are the 5 things that I've learned over the years that we really need to focus on in any club, no matter whether we are advanced or community or whatever club it is, but especially in an advanced club. And what are those 5 things? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the foundation to unleash your extraordinary self, the mentoring program that we're going to put into Leadership Speak, is that we have a vision in Leadership Speak, and everyone ought to have a vision of their own. What is your vision? Is your vision something that will create an extraordinariness expression of you this year? So what is your vision? We know our vision is to be better self-directed leaders, and it's a premier club for becoming better self-directed leaders. Now, sure, we have a vision, but if you're not organized yourself, which means planning, using a calendar, and so many other different things which we will talk about from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, all these 5 things coming up, lunchtime, my time, please join in. Once you've organized yourself, what you need to do is you need to be able to connect with other members of the team, because it is a team. Like Sandra said, a Toastmasters club is a community. Team is community, community is team. You cannot, it's not a solo sport. Thank you, our Toastmaster of the day. Yay! Sports player. She has the theme quite bang on. But, you know, we fail to connect. And then therefore we fail to enhance our full potential. And if you don't connect, then you don't have teamwork. You don't have a community. And with all those things, you also, what else you need is you need to be really energized. You have to have passion. You have to have enthusiasm. You need to be alive, come alive, and be here, be present. That's what needs energy. So, ladies and gentlemen, those are that's the circle of being extraordinary. This is what we really need in any Toastmasters, especially in an advanced Toastmaster, that we actually practice this. These are the 5 practices of being an advanced leader in Toastmasters. I'm going to really focus only on team today, because it's all about leadership is a team sport. And a lot of us have spoken already about team sports. So let me just bring to you to light something. Now, we all watched, most of us watched on, I think it was December 17th or 18th. I never watched soccer, but this time I went with a bunch of friends. I don't have a TV. I don't watch sport at all, actually. I went to a sports bar. We had screens all over the walls. You may have seen some of my posts, and we watched Argentina and France. Do you remember that amazing game, how it was like till the end? Amazing, 2 of the world's top players playing against each other, but they couldn't have played against each other without a team. Did you realize that Argentina was one of the best teams, and so was France? Now in Argentina, who was the main player? Well, the main player was, I'll step out of the screen and here have a look.
Messi.
Oops, sorry, I got that wrong. I'll
Mbappe.
try again. Here we go. I'll try again by doing something different. All right. All right, technology, right?
Moment of history. Messi. Oh, absolutely astounding. And with that goal, Lionel Messi becomes Argentina's all-time leading scorer. Messi! Sheer class. It never fades away.
Messi encara Valenciaga, li fan un 3 contra 1, ja se n'ha fet a un, ja s'ha fet el segon, ja s'ha fet el tercer, entra a l'àrea Messi, se'n fa un altre, gol!
What a shot by the best player on the planet! Thank you, God! Thank you, God, for letting me watch this! Thank you, God, for having Lionel Messi be a football player!
I think Messi is one of a kind. What he's doing, I don't know if we will see another player do the things that he does.
Brilliant, look at that.
There you go. The player from Manchester said, we will never get a player like Messi. Now, Messi couldn't have ever been what he was in all these games. This is not at Qatar, these are all his other games. And at Qatar, we saw even more incredible stuff than what you saw here today. Messi needed the team to be where he was, to express his extraordinariness. He couldn't have done it all by himself. It is a team sport, and so is Toastmasters. None of you here could be able to do what you are doing if it wasn't for a team coming together. So we have like 18 or 19 members from Toastmasters right here in Leadership Speak, right here today to create a team so that you can come and be who you are, to express your uniqueness, yet be part of a team. It is only in team sports that we succeed. And in Leadership Speak, if you're not thinking of team and connecting with others, you will not succeed and you will not fully unleash your potential. But if you connect with everyone and think as a team, Tony, Marianna, Ashwini, Banasri, all of you, Sudarshan, Lokesh, think of yourself as team, and we do, but at the next level, so that by December of 2023, here's the promise, you will all be able to stand up and speak in such a way that it will command confidence, credibility, and attention. And people will say, I want to listen to this speaker. Who is this person? Where did they come from? Only happens like Messi, team sport. That's the only way out. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Woo-hoo! Thank you so much, Toastmaster Brahm, for sharing that in-depth information about team collaboration. I will now call on my colleague, Timer, who will be keeping the scores. Yes, Timer Sibnan, please let us know our speakers' time.
Toastmaster Sandra Valks took 21 minutes and 20 seconds. Toastmaster Bindhu Joseph took 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Toastmaster Mary Cusin took 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Toastmaster Sudarshan Seshadri took 7 minutes and 29 seconds. Toastmaster Marianna Burka took 6 minutes and 54 seconds. Toastmaster Brahm Memone took 7 minutes and 42 seconds. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Madam Timer. And we will vote for our best effort speaker, after which we will have a 3-minute break. And during that 3-minute break, I'm going to defrost from this hockey Iceland, and I'll be back with you. So please vote for your best effort speaker.
Is someone posting the poll?
Brahm is.
There we go.
Okay, I want to say everybody, my colleagues, yes, that's me use the word of the day. Colleagues, you've completed voted. Voting process is ended. As soon as it ends, we now go to a quick 3-minute break, and I'll be right back.
Hello, Bindhu.
Hi, Lucky. So nice to see you here again.
Thank you.
So how was your this thing? You said you'd post me photos and I didn't see any photos.
Oh, I'm still trying to recover. Actually, it's on Facebook. I put it in Bangsa Toastmasters and
Oh, okay. Yes, then I'll definitely check it in.
it's on my
Facebook.
page also. It's on my page also.
Oh. So celebrations are still continuing to the weekend?
I think so. I'm waiting for more invitations.
Oh, okay. I should be there. Then you would have got an invitation.
Well, you can join me.
So Lucky, what are you waiting for? Why can't you join us here?
5 crops is already too much.
I mean, you're the epitome of leadership. You are in so many clubs and at the top position as well. So,
And what will my
just
bank
it.
manager say? And what will my bank manager say?
I have no reply for that. It must be pretty late for you right now, right?
It is 11:09.
Okay, not late by Lucky standards. You still have another 2 hours to go.
Yeah. It's a rare opportunity to see our Brahm twice in a day.
Oh, there was a morning meeting?
Yeah, Seshadri chapter 1.
Oh, yes. Your favorite club. The one in which I am never awake for on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
So Bangsar has a meeting, no? This weekend? This week?
Yes. No, not this week.
Next week. Oh, yeah.
But Bangsar, KL Advance has got on Monday.
5th
week.
Yeah, you have two speakers, right?
All right, and we are back. We are back from the break. You know, you're wondering, what on earth is the Toastmasters wearing hat? No, please note, in the Caribbean during teams like cricket and football, there is a stand called the bleachers stand. And the bleachers stand mean you are in the hot sun. So the ladies will get their hat to adorn their attire because the sun is extremely hot. Yes. So now we are in the hot area called the general evaluation. Whew. And I will call on my colleague, none other than Toastmaster Mohmad, our general evaluator. It's now yours, Toastmaster Mohmad.
Yahoo! That was the theme today. And our Toastmaster, you did it well. And you actually increased the temperature, the energy in this meeting, that it was in the morning -2 degrees centigrade in Toronto. Now it is 0 degree. So you increased 2 degree temperature. Thank you very much for introducing me today as General Evaluator. So my job is to evaluate the entire session. And I have divided into 3 parts. One, I will evaluate the speakers, the prepared speeches, and one of the leadership speech. And then I will go to evaluate the role players. And in third part, I will evaluate the entire meeting as a whole. So this is my planning. And I am not alone. I have a team of competent leaders. They will help me to evaluate the entire session. So the first is the speeches, and the first leadership speech was delivered by Sandra Valks. It was a wonderful speech. And the title of this leadership talk was Leadership Growth Evolves and Can Be Learned. That was the wonderful lesson we have learned today. And her speech will be evaluated by another leader, Mohmad Asif Saiyed. He's a continuous learner. He is very passionate about business, education, and public speaking. In his career of 28 years, he has worn many hats, such as auditor, entrepreneur, trainer, consultant, risk officers, and social worker. I think there is nothing left. His new areas of interest are executive coaching and the art of communication. Asif has been in Toastmaster for the last 6 years. And today he's going to evaluate the speech delivered by Sandra Valks. I invite Mohmad Asif.
Thank you, General Evaluator Azimuddin. A beautiful speech today on how do we build team spirit, team sport, community building, camaraderie. Beautifully enunciated in a speech by Sandra Valks, a keynote style speech spreading over 22 minutes. Sandra kept us intrigued, enthralled with so many events of her life which unfolded and taught her how leadership can be developed through team building and team spirit. Sandra took her to her early days as a farm girl, where how the community thrived as a building or depending on a single machinery or an equipment. how all the groups of families came together and shared the work. That gave us an insight of how team spirit can work in different walks of life. She also told us about how things could work in the later part of her life, where she learned in a form of military and Air Force families, how they got together and built up team spirit and cooperated together for better opportunities or better results. And the most interesting part was that she took her, or she told us her journey in the prison. I mean, that was the most interesting thing, like, because prison is completely an environment we have seen in just movies. And thinking about Toastmasters in prison, that was a very interesting and insightful speech about how Toastmasters has worked in prison and how members of, or the inmates have come together to find their spirit or their voice on their leadership and their team spirit. Their journey is so insightful. So thank you for enlightening us with how Toastmasters has brought so much of camaraderie in and team spirit and leadership building in a prison environment. And throughout the speech, what I noted was that she kept up the energy, despite I believe you didn't have a good throat today. Maybe you was having some issues with the throat, but she pumped up the energy throughout the whole speech with voice modulation, with a lot of non-verbal gestures with her hands, and also using a prop and just demonstrating how exactly, like I was thinking, what does strip mean? And she demonstrated through that prop how does the strip look and how the prison process happens of a Toastmasters election. That was so insightful. So that was, thank you so much for enlightening us through your speech. And most important was that she used some of the good words as well. I learned, like, reprieve, camaraderie, and so there was good transitions as well. Most importantly, I would challenge you, Sandra, because this is a long speech and there are so many characters coming inside this story or the speech, that I would love. One place I saw, yes, there was a good character building where you described the guy with a young guy who came and gave his first icebreaker speech. Similarly, if you would have kept a few of the characters and you would have described them in detail, which is, we call it the art of storytelling, how does each of the character look like, what they feel, and second thing is, how does prison look like? Is it the same thing which we see in movies? And third would be more onto the dialogue rather than describing or narrating the scenes, would really have made a big impact and kept us more engaged. One more small thing which I would like to for you to improve upon would be a bit of the transition from when you moved from the early life to the prison, or even from the married life to the prison. How did you actually land up in the doing, what did you do with the prison? I'm like, how did you get into it? Those so because many things could go into a listener's perspective. Were you kind of a jailer over there? Were you working with the prison, or were you with a social organization? How really you got into it? So that would be a scene setting, would really help for the viewers. Overall, your speech was so inspirational, really insightful, and we learned a lot from you today in your Toastmasters speech about camaraderie and team spirit. Toastmasters is definitely a good place to learn the leadership. Thank you. And over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Evaluator Mohmad Asif. It was a wonderful evaluation for a wonderful speech. And I also agree that, Sandra, you could take only one character from the prison and then you could prove that what was the impact on that prisoner of your own leadership. That would be a great speech. So now the second speaker, it was the first speech for the prepared speech session, and the speaker was Bindhu Joseph. The title was Reached Out for the Star and Landed on the Moon. It was from the Persuasive Influence Level 2 speech, Understanding Your Leadership Style. And the evaluator is Hannah Smith, and she is the current Sergeant at Arms for Leadership Speak and the Area Director in District 86. She is the Distinguished Toastmaster, her home club, Namibia. She served in various roles in her club and was also Area Director for District 74 in South Africa. She is the member of 4 clubs. Now today, she is invited to evaluate the speech delivered by Bindhu Joseph. Hannah, please come forward to evaluate.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator. Toastmasters, and especially Bindhu. What a pleasure it was to listen to such an accomplished speaker as Bindhu. The speech was indeed opened with a bang, and it immediately caught my attention. This was also my project, and I listened very attentively of what she said about the different types of leadership. The use of pauses and volume used in the speech brought tension and added impact. The speech explained the various types of leadership. I would have, however, preferred you concentrate on 3. Use the triad, make use of the triad, and elaborate a little more on each of them. I observed how passionately and energetically you inspired the audience with your personal story, being a researcher, a teacher, and a perfectionist. Don't we all want to be perfectionists? Bindhu, with Zoom meetings, the main focus point of the audience is on the face of the speaker and especially on the eyes. And this was done perfectly. Your eye contact and facial expressions were outstanding. One challenge, however, I have for you is your hand gestures. The message would have been far more compelling, dynamic, had I seen more of them. I only saw your fingertips occasionally. Yes, some show of the hands would have complemented the story a bit more and had a better impact on me. Try standing next time. Another challenge I have for you is to include the theme of your, a bit more into your story, that we get to know again. She's speaking about that and that. And most of all, take care of the time. We all have obligations, as you said, humility, ambition, and a vision. And with that, we shall all land on the moon faster than expected. But my version of that is reach for the moon. And if you miss the moon, you land amongst the stars. Isn't that leadership full of stars to land there? Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Hannah, for wonderful evaluation. So, Bindhu, I was just focusing on how you organized your speech in parallel to the objectives of the speech. And I found that the objective was to understand the leadership styles that you said 8 types of styles, and then compare your leadership styles with those styles and pick up 1 or 2 styles that is your own and that describe that style. That you did wonderfully well. But there is one thing, every time I noted down that 4 times you said sorry. So it depends on your preparation. So little bit preparation could help you out. And every time sorry will give an impression that you are yourself not confident in the information that you are giving to us. So try to overcome that one. You are an advanced leader, so you should take care. Thank you very much for giving such a wonderful speech. Congratulations to Hannah Smith for evaluation and Bindhu Joseph for the speech. Our next speaker was Cusin, and she delivered her icebreaker speech, wonderfully introduced, introductory speech from her side, and the speech title was Something from Elsewhere. She started in a very interesting way, and the speech will be evaluated by one of our new member, Kenneth Kajora, professional teacher. He enjoys connecting with colleagues. He is a member of Leadership Speak and Lubowa Toastmaster in Uganda. He is a vice president of education of the club, and he has won an award as the best vice president of education in District 114. Congratulations, Kajura, and please take over to evaluate the speech from Marianna.
Thank you so much, our general evaluator. Marie Cusin, well done, well done. Indeed, something from elsewhere. You started well with a prop, showed us a cup of coffee, which pulled attention of the audience. You engaged the audience by asking them where you come from, and you wanted them to put it in the chat. This was interactive, and you showed a welcoming gesture. You had a good speech pace. Keep it up, Marianna. You shared your background, how you grew up in a military-like family. This seemed torturing. You were clear and audible with good use of gestures and eye contact. I loved when you said you like connecting with colleagues. Indeed, I also enjoy connecting with colleagues, and I felt it at the beginning when you started the speech. However, you kept moving away from the camera. I encourage you to position yourself well in the middle of the camera. I felt like you were missing out transitions from one paragraph to another, which would help you to create a flow. All in all, it was a wonderful speech. You encouraged us to connect with a team everywhere, even though we are nowhere, and you connected with your title. Well done, Marie. Keep moving, keep going. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Kenneth, for your wonderful evaluation. I have to add a few points here. Mary Cusin, you did a wonderful job. It is an honor for every club that new members are coming and giving their icebreaker speech. Wonderful. So this icebreaker speech is actually the members' speech where they introduce themselves to the club and also gives us an idea what is their existing capability of speaking power. And from there, how well and how high they can go up. So you give your first presence in a very wonderful way. Thank you very much for giving your icebreaker speech. And thank you, Kenneth Kajura, for wonderful evaluation. And the third speaker was Sudarshan Seshadri. from strategic relationship. Level 2, understanding your leadership style. I am sorry. I am sorry. And the speech will be evaluated by Tony Bratchett, DTM, past District 86 Governor, 15 years in Toastmasters, business consultant, and a growing leader. And Tony Bratchett, the floor is yours for the evaluation.
All right, thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, and fellow colleagues and teammates, and especially the leader, Sudarshan. Sudarshan, you struck to the heart of leadership, in my opinion. Right behind me is a picture of my men-women hockey team in their championship year. And such people, such colleagues look for leadership. And I'm going to explain to you why I believe you're a leader based on your presentation. Now, in Canada, if you don't know, 4 out of 5 Canadian dentists recommend hockey because it's good for business. You get the puck in your teeth. And certainly when that hockey player from Montreal, 6'4", a fellow named Marty, when he fired you, you must have felt like you got a hockey puck in the teeth because that hurts. Now, Sudarshan, I'm from Montreal. I'm a hockey player. I'm not 6'4". I'm big, but in a fat way. So let me explain the relevance to our colleagues. We can understand who a leader is by what he or she says and acts. You explained to us at the very beginning how you had to fire someone before their wedding. And then in turn, you were fired by that rotten guy from Montreal. You've been there, you've done that, and you have lessons learned. Okay, yeah, you have my attention, you have credibility. That's a sign of a leadership. Another thing I liked was you described explicitly your style of leadership, which is the purpose of your presentation. You talked about being direct, getting to the heart of the matter or the source of the matter, and yet having empathy. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. As you made a difficult decision, and as you received the other end of the stick and was a recipient of a difficult decision. And I know that because I was captain of this team and my nickname was the knife because I had to cut players. So I can see you're a leader. Now, a recommendation for me, this is selfish of me. What I really wanted to hear more of, and maybe did not have enough time, is how did you progress after the bad news? So, maybe not enough time, maybe another speech, but how did a leader react, a leader such as you react after you got that puck in the face, in the teeth? How did you become better? But maybe next speech. In summary, you had credibility, you had clarity, and your delivery was excellent with the dialogue. Every word was clear. And leaders do have to deliver messages. And this time, Sudarshan, you put the puck in the net. Goal! Well done. Back to you, General Evaluator. And thank you, Sudarshan.
Thank you very much, Tony Bratchett. You actually gave us an education module on this speech. So, Sudarshan, you did a wonderful job. You achieved your objectives of the speech. And I want to add only 2 points here. It would be really a great speech if you would stand in front of the camera and show your all body language to impress us very well. So, and that at the end, you no need to say thank you, because this is the audience who are going to say thank you for your wonderful speech. Thank you very much, Tony Brachit and Sudarshan. The fourth speaker was Marianna Burka, Strategic Relationship, Level 4, Public Relations Strategies, and the speech title was Buckle Up. So I would like to invite Ashwini Arundkar to buckle up and evaluate the speech. She is a sales professional and well-tuned, articulated, classic dancer. I would like to invite Ashwini Arundkar. Please evaluate this speech.
Today's project for Toastmaster Marianna was to deliver on public relations strategy. So Toastmaster Marianna has delivered a well-organized speech about a real public relations strategy, which she actually implemented in her life. The speech was was informational, and I think seamlessly she was able to use the visual aids, which I could see. For me, public relation is a practice of managing and disseminating information to, in fact, influence the perception, their perception. So while Marianna has walked us through the entire story as to how did she do it, there are 5 important aspects which we need to evaluate from a storytelling perspective. So there are 5 C's. One is context. So when she spoke about, when she was setting up context, she in fact mentioned about date and time. She took us back to a 30 years old situation where there was no social media in use, and people used to pay a lot of money to create an awareness of an organization, of a brand. So it actually made me think that yes, if that would have been a scenario where social media was there at that point in time, what she would have done differently. While she was also talking about the context, character, when she was building her own character as an entrepreneur, I think there she should have also explained us her experience in life without having a help, without doing any advertisement campaign, what amount of business she was generating and what struggle she had to go through before releasing an ad by paying some dollars. After that, I think when she moved on to a stage where we heard about she getting introduced to Leadership Speak and the other Toastmasters Club, entering into Toastmaster world, how her perception has changed in terms of understanding public relation. She also, in fact, told us that she will now kind of look at implementing those strategies. So I think when she was creating a catch, oh my God moment, I think that was a point where I felt that little more of use of story would have helped to create that wow moment as to how, from a struggle, Marianna has used the social media handle to ensure that she generates the same amount of inquiry or double the inquiry which she had generated 30 years back. So that X of growth she could have shown in her business, if at all, that catch movement was somewhere missing. And that's where, while we were transiting to the change movement, where we wanted to have a look at before and after impact, there was a certain amount of miss out, which actually could have been taken care. But yes, I mean, there is always one more chance to present a similar kind of speech into a next meeting. So I think this 5 C's would really help to create a beautiful story out of the struggle which Marianna had gone through before and after implementing the public relations strategy. Thank you, and over to you, Mohmad.
Thank you very much, Ashwini Arundkar, for your wonderful speech evaluation. And I take it as a wonderful education module on how to evaluate a speech. Thank you very much. Marianna, you did a great job. And the one thing that I liked in your speech was that you challenged yourself. You set a goal to sell your product, and that a leader does. Thank you very much for your speech. And the 5th speech was a wonderful and great speech on mentoring. So, and it was from Team Collaboration, Level 2, Speech 3, Introduction to Toastmaster Mentoring. And the speech title was Mentoring for Extraordinariness. And that was the speech title, we wanted to learn from this speech more and more. And today, the speech will be evaluated by Banasari Banerjee. She is a community leader, successful communicator, and joined Toastmaster. And in a couple of years, she became an effective communicator. She's going to evaluate today's speech from Brahm Memone.
Good evening, my fellow colleagues and my mentor, beloved Toastmaster Brahm Memone. Your topic on extraordinariness, which has been giving us so many insights over the last couple of days, has taken a beautiful shape through your speech today. 5 stages of extraordinariness, intriguing model which is coming up. I'm directly coming to the delivery aspect of your speech today. You have a vocal variety. You have a vocal quality, which you're gifted with it. You took us from here to the stadium, to the place where you went with your friends, and you brought us back just with your hands and with your voice. I loved the fact that you have used 2 senses of your audience to create that moment of wow through your speech. You spoke, you showed us, you did both. Only thing left are the other 2 senses, which is not possible on an online meeting. Coming straight to the fact that what I felt could have been better, I observed a couple of ahs and ohms in your speech. I became an ah counter while listening to your speech. Second thing, maybe what can be developed is, as per the project objective, it stated that share an experience where you were as a protégé. I was looking for that in the content, but you enlightened us with the fact that what a leader can do when you have a team, then only you can lead. Similarly, you have to take all the blames also. If you have a team, you don't have to take the blames. Now, the other fact that which I felt could have been improved was when I was checking the one hand with your remote was over and over and over was moving up, and very rarely I saw the left hand coming up. So maybe a balance could do justice to the audience in front of you. And apart from that, the speech purpose, I didn't see anything to basically tell you, anything to improve. And just that, the project objective, that was all I was looking for. And I felt that is missing. That was, the team was more, the extraordinariness was more, but where is the fact that you as a mentee, you could share your experience from your mentor-mentoring relationship, which you have had. Over to you.
Thank you, Banasari. You exactly evaluated in the same way that I was thinking. And that was the in hand. I could say only one thing. Brahm is the leader of leaders. So what he said today was a wonderful lesson for us. We can go in the field of our own, in our own respective fields, and can grow with the lesson that we learned from Brahm. But as far as the objectives is concerned, it should come like what the roles of mentor and the relationship of mentees that would help us to go to our mentor and establish a relationship with the mentor and learn from the mentors. So it was really great lesson for us. 5 phases of ordinariness: vision, organize, connect, team, and energy. That gave us a lot of energy today to take home as a lesson, mentoring of extraordinariness. Thank you very much, Brahm and Banasari Banerjee, for evaluation. Now I'm moving to the next part of my evaluation, the evaluation of a role player. Toastmaster of the day, Francoise Bowen. Where are you now? Yahoo! So you did an excellent job. It was simply amazing, excellently phenomenal. What can I say about your role today? You started with a bang in a very enthusiastic manner. I was not expecting that much energy in this role. You put yourself full energy into it to make it a successful meeting. You set the mood of the audience and you started leading the meeting. Your theme, leadership in a team sport, you actually demonstrated through your role what it means. Congratulations on completing your role as a Toastmaster of the day. You appreciated the speakers in a unique way that made your role truly phenomenal. Thank you very much for giving us this example of doing the role of Toastmaster of the day. Maybe I will follow the same in next meeting. Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the day, for your. And the timer, it is really a very passionate job to do some roles like timer. I'm going to do next week meeting. So congratulations, timer. You did a great job. You gave the report already of the speeches. So I would like to invite you to please give the timing sheet for the evaluators.
Thank you very much. Evaluator 1, Hannah Schmidt, took 2 minutes and 40 seconds. I'm sorry, before that, Mohmad Asif Saiyed took 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Second evaluator, Kenneth Kajora, took 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Third evaluator, Tony, took 3 minutes and 26 seconds. Fourth evaluator, Ashwini Aronkar, took 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Fifth evaluator, Banasri Banerjee, took 2 minutes and 53 seconds. Over to you.
Thank you, timer. Now, I am sure I'm going to predict you that we are going to get a good and wonderful education module on grammarian's role. Because against me, I have my role player, Farsi Gotuaku. He is going to deliver the role of grammarian. He is a trainer, leader, YouTuber, and above all, an enthusiastic Toastmaster. I welcome grammarian Farsi Gotuaku to please put your report.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. I've got a detailed report. First, I want to say great usage of the word of the day. Thank you for all of you who used it during the entire week, making it the word of the week. Good grammar today. There were very few things that I caught that were incorrect, and that's surprising when you consider how many of us are using English as their second language. There were a lot of different pronunciations because we come from different parts of the globe. That's one of those tomato kind of situations. Let's go ahead. TMOD, thank you very much. Not too many mistakes. Great energy. Missed a couple of S's on the end of your plurals. And interesting to say, a quick 3-minute break. Can it really be quickly 3 if it's still 3? Interesting. TMO, a lot of uses of the word of the day. Fantastic. These are all the folks. I may have missed some because so many people use them, and I thank you for that. Moving forward, Sandra, Valks, use of the word reprieve, which your evaluator brought up. It's a great word to use considering we're talking about people on a prison sentence. So thank you very much on that. Bindhu Joseph, lovely, using collaborated really well with my colleagues. Sorry for the typo, collaborated really well with my colleagues. Marie, principal actor in my own life. Great phrase, principal actor in my own life. Tony, keep your stick on the ice. Lovely phrase, sir. Put the biscuit in the basket. I was kind of hoping you'd say that one. Even that Rolls Royce will someday go to the garage. Sudarshan, thank you for that phrase. Lovely. And a great image as well. Marianna, leap of faith. Always a great phrase. Thank you for using that. Brahm Memone, you need to come alive. Oh, well done, Brahm. I also like you also added about being present. Timer, you took X number of minutes. I think better to say you used X number of minutes, yes? As opposed to you took those minutes. you could also say you spoke for. Moving forward, evaluator, camaraderie, team spirit. You brought up the same words that were used in the speech. Mohmad, how does prison look like? What does prison look like? I think would be a little more accurate. What does prison look like? Hannah, opened with a bang. Nice phrase there, Hannah. Kenneth, you engaged the audience, connecting with colleagues. Thank you for phrasing it that way. Tony, the knife because I had to cut people. What a phrase. Ashwini, explain it to us. Explain it to us, I think would be a more accurate way of doing that. Make sure to slow down, please. Banasri, I observed, good word, balance, very nice. That is my report, Mr. General Evaluator. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you very much, Percy. I told you that while Percy is going to play a role, it will be an education module for every one of us. Thank you very much, all role players. And now the meeting as a whole, it started a few minutes late. There was a changes in the Zoom master, and that the role players were well prepared. Everybody did their best of their abilities and their preparation. So I congratulate everyone of this meeting, role players, speakers, evaluators, and the leaders of this club to organize and conduct such a wonderful meeting. Your general evaluator, Mohmad Azimuddin, is now signing off. Over to Toastmaster.
Can we have the poll for the evaluators?
And now we will be having the poll for the evaluators. And I just want to say thank you. Thanks to every one of you for attending today's Leadership Speak special meeting, which is entitled Leadership is a Team Sport. Now, you are now voting for your best effort evaluator. And around this time in sports, particularly cricket, you just heard me blowing the whistle, you just heard me pounding, because that's what we do. We like to relax after a game. Sometimes the game go overtime. But you know what? We enjoyed it all. We had fun. We learned team sport. We learned collaboration. We learned a lot from our colleagues. And I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. I'm now going to I'm now going to announce the best speaker. And the best speaker goes to none other than Toastmaster Sudarshan. And
thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Now, best effort evaluator. Now, who is the best effort evaluator? Our best effort evaluator, it's right there. And we have a tie. We have Toastmaster Asif and also Toastmaster Tony.
Mohmad gets it. He was better, but thanks.
Alrighty. To our guests, we thank you for participating with us. You can stay back after the meeting ended just to have a little chit chat, because that's what we do even in cricket. Chit chat, relax, have family fun, know each other, networking. My name is Francoise Bowen from the Caribbean island of Antigua and Barbuda. And this meeting now adjourned. Thank you.
Good job, Francoise. Good job.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Humor and class combined in one. Well done.
Thank you.
Very high energy.
Amazing energy. Thank you so much for being the Toastmaster of the Day.
You are phenomenal.
Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal.
I wish you'd bang that pot more often through the meeting. like we do at the real game, you know.
I felt like I was sitting and, but they should start appreciating cricket. A lot of cricket